Welcome to another episode of Photo Enthusiastic. I'm your host, Jim Fair. Well, I've been playing around with the Nikon Z6 and the kit lens, the 24-70 f4S lens. And I'm happy to report that although the lens is rather expensive at $9.99 Canadian all by itself, Nikon wasn't kidding when they said corner-to-corner sharpness is much better. And I can show you this image here. So this eagle was right in the left bottom corner of the frame, and yet you can see every feather. Now, granted, I did stop down to f8, which is probably the sweet spot of the lens, but I wanted decent depth of field, and it was hard to get this sort of a bird in focus, so it's like a shutter speed of a 1/1600th of a second, and it did a great job. I'm very impressed. And the autofocus nailed quite a few of these with the kit lens. When I switched over to manual focus on my adapted macro, I had a lot more trouble. And the Nikkor 200mm f4 was pretty much useless for trying to get birds fairly close at shortest distance. Focusing distance on that lens, which is, you know, quite a ways. Is like doesn't focus down to about 10 feet or something ridiculous. And you know, I was thinking maybe the 24-70 didn't focus very close, but it does. It focuses down to 0.3 meters or 0.99 feet. So basically just under a foot. So that's pretty good. Oh, less impressive was the fact that my Cameron flash, this is Henry's brand, which is probably a Young Yo underneath, or one of those brands. Dedicated Nikon flash doesn't seem to be recognized by the Z6. Nikon has done some work to ensure that non-Nikon flashes aren't going to be considered Nikon flashes, I think. Anyway, I can't get it to work in TTL mode, but the good news is I never used TTL mode. I was just curious to see if it would work, and it doesn't seem to work. But if you just put on your little wireless trigger, which I have lying around here somewhere, well, this is the receiver. I have the little Cowboy Studio things. They're made in China. They're cheap, but they work. And it works fine in full manual, all the way down to 1/128th power. So I don't really have any complaints there. But if you're expecting TTL to work on your non-Nikon flash, I would definitely check that out. There's also a number of videos about the fact most mirrorless cameras don't activate this sort of red focus assist. Which is necessary because the in-camera focus assist annoys people, so you end up turning that off for event photography. I'll link to a video about that up here, assuming you're on a device that can see that kind of link. So getting ready for my trip, deciding what to pack and what not to pack. Definitely not taking the ginormous 200 f4. I think I'll just pack the macro and the 24-70, you know, maybe the 28 prime. I'll need the FTZ adapter, of course. But I want to try and keep it light. And yeah, I've noticed since switching back from Fujifilm X-T3 that, yeah, my kit's a lot heavier again. So one of the downsides of full frame, but the image quality perhaps is worth it. Perhaps. Depends on your point of view. How big you print things, you know, if you're a full frame snob like me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Fade out.